Hello, I'm deeply honored to have been invited to deliver this keynote. Um, I live in what's called a developed country, in fact, in a developed city, London. And there was a thunderstorm last night, and our network has gone down. Hence, I am in the garden working from a phone. So apologies if you get background noises from birds or aeroplanes or whatever. Later, you will be hearing from some of the world's leading professionals in the use of artificial and digital technology. And these presentations will be accompanied by excellent slide packs and intelligent, practical information. The focus, rightly so, will be on the global south and emerging economies and how publishers in these territories can become leaders in innovation, entrepreneurship, and sustainability. But before we address these new challenges, I'd like to set the stage with some thoughts on what matters in our industry. I want to remember an author who I suspect none of you have ever heard. He's called Dr. Maurice King. Back in 1978, I was a medical editor at OUP. On the basis of a hunch, no internal consultation, no market research, we decided to build a list of medical books which we could sell through the vibrant network of OUP branches in Asia, Africa, Latin America. We got lucky. And by the way, never underestimate the importance of luck in publishing. We identified a maverick doctor, this Maurice King, who had been working at Makerere University outside Kampala in Uganda. He visited a remote village and he realized that treating disease in tropical countries with little human or financial resource required radical thinking and an approach to prevention and treatment unconsidered in the traditional Western medical textbooks. We published his first book, Medical Care in Developing Countries, followed by Primary Child Care, Medical Laboratory, Primary Anesthesia, Surgery, Mother and Child Health, and sold many, many millions of copies at very low prices, I should say. Arguably, those books written by this great man saved more lives than all the medical advances from the sophisticated laboratories in the West. The publisher's role in this example is typical and illustrates a general theme. The publisher didn't create the books. The authors, with the help of illustrators, advisors, generosity of their employees, in this case, the World Health Organization, created the intellectual property in the books. The printers manufactured the physical products. Shippers transported the books to overseas warehouses and thence to booksellers. Doctors and nurses, often supported by local government grants, purchased the books for themselves or for the hospital library. The money from the sales returned penultimately to the publisher and finally back to the authors themselves. So what was the publisher's role then and now? Perhaps the most accurate parallel is to think of a maternity ward. The publisher is neither the mother nor the baby. The publisher is the midwife, the person who cares for the mother during pregnancy as the fertilized egg grows from an inchoate mass of cells into a recognizable fetus, oversees the actual birth, intervenes when there's a problem, and then ensures the baby's immediate health and well-being. The two most important people in this scenario are the mother and the baby, not the midwife. And in publishing, It's the author and the reader, not the publisher. We must never forget this. The publisher is no more than the facilitator, or indeed, to pick another metaphor, the conductor of an orchestra, but not the players, nor the composer, nor the audience. But back to the midwife metaphor. What are the qualities that make a good midwife? I guess empathy scores highly, as it does with publishers. If you don't empathize with authors and their objectives and needs, go do a different job. And then comes professional competence. Our midwife must understand how the human body works, not just the reproductive organs, blood, circulation, brain, hormones, nerves, psyche, etc. Publishers need to understand not just their specific role, which might be sales, marketing, distribution, finance, but how these functions hang together. On top of all that, we expect our midwife to be using the very best, most up-to-date technology to ensure a safe birth and a healthy baby. Some technology is simple and well established. As Boris King discovered, buying weighing machines for midwives made more difference than supplying penicillin. Education on the importance of breastfeeding, thermometers. But some now is highly sophisticated, ultrasound, MRI, CT, etc. So with publishing. As a trade, publishers have been pretty open to the adoption of new technologies, albeit sometimes a little slow. In some areas, they've led the field. The invention of a global unique identifier in the form of the SBN is one such innovation. In other areas, the transition from movable type via photo setting to digital file creation, from hot metal to offset printing, and far too slowly, the adoption of print-on-demand digital technology. And of course, the globalization of bookselling through the internet via Amazon, Kobo, and many others. All these innovations have their detractors. Typically, organized labor concerned about the impact on their members' jobs. Some still do, but nonetheless, progress was made and will continue. The latest and the most potentially disruptive, for good or bad, is the main item for our group today and in the future, artificial intelligence. The concerns about threats to copyright, creation of fake material, the hyper-publication of new titles congesting our traditional distribution channels, the undermining of trust in information and others are legitimate. But we are midwives. Our authors are fundamentally seeking readers. We must use every tool to help them. How can we not offer authors automatic audio books in their own voice? How can we not make every author available in all languages simultaneously? How can we not accelerating our publishing schedules in line with the speed of changing fashion? How can we not help readers find the exact book they need and help authors find the exact readers they are aiming for? How can we not work to ensure the probity of the scientific record? How can we not streamline our systems to reduce waste, both human and environmental? The BookTech Collective has been instigated to advance answers to some of these and other questions. We need to recognize our fears and address them, not by obstruction, but by debate, creativity, and risk-taking. To misquote Marx and Engels, publishers and midwives of the world, you have nothing to lose but your chains. And a reminder from a bygone age, way before my time even, the great publisher Sir Stanley Unwin said, forget the B, said, "To write books is easy. It requires only pen and ink and the ever-patient paper. To print books is a little more difficult. because genius so often rejoices in illegible handwriting. To read books is more difficult still because of a tendency to go to sleep. But the most difficult task of all that a mortal man can embark on is to sell a book. This is as true today as when he wrote it in 1927. I want to end on the words of an infinitely less eminent communicator and less intelligent, Donald Trump. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for inviting me. I hope to play a part in the future of this excellent initiative.